It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. And joining us now is a guy whose name you might not have heard in a while, but whose story you're at least vaguely familiar with. It's Dashazor Everett, former Washington safety. And Shays, you and I used to talk all the time in the locker room. I don't think either of us ever imagined a discussion like we're about to have. So I appreciate your time, man.
Oh, yeah, Craig, and I appreciate you taking the time out, give me a chance to talk about everything.
Absolutely. And I'll just start very broad. And actually, let me give a little bit more background to the audience first before I ask my first question. You obviously, people know, had a terrible, terrible accident a couple years ago. And in that accident, your longtime girlfriend passed away. You ultimately, after the investigation and everything, pled guilty to a reckless driving charge. And you have now worked with some folks on a PSA so that no one ever has to go through what you've gone through. So with that background and for the refresher with the audience, I'd simply like to start by asking, how are you doing? Because I know there's a mental health component to all of this that you want to talk about, but how are you, man?
Every day is a challenge. Every day is a new day. So whatever it brings, I just try to face it head on. I can't say it's gotten any easier. I've just gotten better at dealing with it and, just trying to find ways to find peace and, just continue motivating myself and more than anything, helping others. So.
Yeah. Talking about these things is tough, yet you reached out because you wanted to talk about it. Why do you want to talk about it?
I feel like the biggest thing of me talking about it is, giving someone, because I never had the perspective of maybe, dealing with something like this, knowing someone close to me that has dealt with something like this. And it was like, I got an opportunity to tell my story. And the biggest impact I could leave is the impact of, changing one person, or if it's a multiple group of people, just me telling my story is like, hey, this could happen to anyone, because that's literally what happened in my mindset. Like, just never expected it to happen, and then wake up one day and it's like, this is the story that's tied to me.
So for clarity here, I think it's important to let you tell your story, because people have read news reports, people have maybe heard secondhand what happened, or they maybe heard original news reports that weren't necessarily correct in all the facts. What is your version of your story?
The version of my story is I lost someone near and dear to me due to a car accident. You had the press release of me driving 90 miles per hour, and the first thing, I don't know if I didn't read much of the articles, but was alcohol involved or drugs involved, and it's like, anyone that knows the type of person that I am, then you had your opinion about me, but none of that was the facts at hand. And after getting professional accident recreation done, and my lawyer working his ass off, and even the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, once they got their people to investigate, and it's like, after witness coming out with their statements and the judge even reading all the facts at hand, it was an accident. And that's the biggest thing that, I feel like I need cleared about everything, is like that it was an accident. But even saying that, I still wake up every day and it's like, even though I know it's an accident, it's like, it was my accident. And I lost someone near and dear to me. So, and as much as I struggled and deal with it and battle with it, I know there's a family that's impacted by it. There's friends that's impacted by it. So, as I said, I just try every day and impact someone else. And it really motivates me to be able to do that. But telling this story, maybe I'll impact more people. Once I get it out there, maybe I'll get another chance to play in the NFL. Like you said, I'm working my ass off still, to train and be ready if I do get a call. And it's like, I could further along push this and push for, what could happen when you're reckless driving. And as I said in the video, it could be 1 mile over, it could be texting, and anything, and just a freak accident. It could cost you everything.
I think as Dashazor Everett's with us here on the Team 980. Shays, I think that's the thing that really struck me as I kind of re-researched everything in preparation for this. Is it wasn't like you were drunk or anything like that. No substances, no altered mind state, no texting, and you weren't going 90 miles an hour. And to me, that makes the story actually more powerful, and the message that you have in the PSA more powerful, is that, as you said, 1 mile per hour over, or, what it turned out to be, what was 10, 15 miles an hour over,
But after accident recreation, and after it was a witness that we passed on the highway, in a single file line in the cars, and we were going maybe 10 miles over, and I mean,
right.
I can't give you an exact number at that time, but
Right. But it wasn't like it was so out of balance that you hear the story and you're like, oh, of course something bad happened, right? It's the kind
yeah,
of speeding that all of us have done, and probably many people, there are people in their cars listening to this right now, might look down at their speedometer and be like, I am going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. As you started to learn about this and wanted to educate people, like, how jarring was that for you to realize, like, wow, that's all it takes. That's how dangerous this is.
well, I mean, in dealing with it, I say it takes a while to like get back to you, and in saying that, like, it's not like I'm ever gonna be the man that I used to be, because obviously I've had some very life altering events happen, and you know, before it happened, 10 miles over was nothing, but now it's like you look back and it's like, if 10 miles over and like this is what's come from it, like it is too much, and it's like. And I look down sometimes like, oh, I'm doing 3 miles over the speed limit. Like, if it says speed limit, and more than anything, now, especially after going through it, it's like that's what I try to obey. And uh, you know how the world is now. Like, everybody's fast paced, everyone moving, people in a hurry. You're trying to get to and do what you got to do, but you don't want a tragedy to come from it. And you would rather be late than not be able to get there at all.
No doubt, no doubt. And I think most of us probably also think about that, like, oh, we just don't want to get a speeding ticket. And then you hear a story like yours, and you realize that the speeding ticket can actually be a good outcome compared to obviously more tragic things. Dashazor Everett's with us here on the Team 980. And Shays, one of the things I also found powerful in that PSA was you kind of attacked two different topics that are very important, very heavy. You talked about the reckless driving element, but you also talked about the mental health side of it and what you've gone through to try to just be able to kind of operate day to day. So how long did it take you to get help for yourself to make sure that you could keep going forward? And what have you found most helpful? As you said earlier, like, it's not easy, but you're getting better at dealing with it. What are the things that have worked for you?
Um, as you touched on mental health, like, I can't say it was something that I wasn't aware of, but it was something that wasn't really a big worry of mine, or like I didn't have too many people that I felt I needed to worry about with mental health. And it's like now, after coming through on the other side of this, and trying to continue to push forward, it's like there was months at a time where it was like I still look back now and it's like I see pictures and it's like, I don't even remember this. Like, it's just like all of it was like a mental fog to me, and it's not until really when I guess I found like more of a purpose for myself, and it wasn't just as far as doing it for me. And like I said, my purpose, well, not my purpose, but I get more motivation or like joy out of getting a call from a guy from back home that's preparing to go to A&M. Well, he's there now, but like, hey, bro, I want to just come work out with you, train with you. And it's like, on those training days where I know, regardless how much I love football, it was a dark day. I couldn't get out of bed. He's like, bro, come on. He's dependent on me. So, just being able to like give to someone else, or like give them my knowledge or my story, is like, that was my motivation. And, I had a camp not too long ago when it was a free camp, to give back just to the community and just give all the kids just an opportunity, because I always hosted the camp, but I had stopped after the accident, everything. So I just wanted to bring it back because I know ultimately Olivia would have pushed me to, keep giving back and doing as she was, is helping the kids and helping others around her. She was so impactful and just a great spirit just to be around. So that's what I just try to keep her legacy going every day, just motivate myself to live like live. And, I still have dark days. It's like I get up and it's like, man, like, I may never get a shot. I may get a shot to be able to tell the story, but it's like I know I keep a picture of her in my Bible before I read every morning, and that's what kind of helps get me up, because just I see her face and I know she'll tell me keep going. So that's what I try to do.
Mental health in the NFL is something that I feel like from covering it, I'm not in the locker room in the way that you were, but like it's evolved over the years. And I think younger generations, people, millennials and younger, the way we look at mental health is very different, more holistic. It's more of a thing that we do talk about. Where older generations, it was shoved to the side and kind of this machismo, like I'm a tough guy, I don't need to talk about it. No one talks about feelings, whatever. When you're like thinking of yourself in an NFL locker room a couple of years ago, like how much did guys talk about mental health? How much did you ever think about it yourself? And how obviously has that changed as you've had conversations with former teammates that are still friends of yours and you guys are checking in on each other now?
Me checking on others now is like, I say that's the biggest part of my mental health struggles. It was because I know even when I'm going through what I've gone through, and as you said, growing up, my dad's very old school. It was like, oh, you all right, just suck it up. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to talk about that if you don't want to. But it's like, so you keep so much bottled in, and it's like, sometimes you explode, or like sometimes one thing could just set everything off. And to me, that wasn't mental health. It was just, oh, you're keeping things bottled up. But now it's like, that affects you. It affects your mental, right? So that's a mental health issue. And so, like you said, like in a locker room, you probably never really talk about things that was going on at home. You talk about football, and then other people that you have, some people have a family at home, they're not going to come talk to a 23-year-old about, oh, yeah, the issues that's going on with my kids and my wife. But it's like now I just feel like so more open, because it's like I know if I keep it bottled up, and I'm in the middle of workouts, and it's like I haven't talked to someone, or I'm thinking about something too much, and I just need a second. And so I had to navigate my way through that and find the ways to cope, where it's like mentally I could like focus and do the things that I need to do. And like I said, it's still a struggle at times, and I still have my days. It may be a week, and I need someone to talk to. I just need something to just, I'm not gonna say distract me, but push me in a positive direction. And it's just little nuances like that I guess I rely on others now, and because it's not a lot of things that you'll be able to get through yourself. And even as a man, as much as you believe that, like, you need others around you, you need more positive people around you. And luckily for me, I had a lot of friends that I've made and people along the way that, I've showed a lot of love to, and like it was reciprocated right back. And I was constantly checked on. It was like I constantly had someone that I could rely on. Like they kind of knew the struggles and knew things that I may need some help and guidance with.
One of the most beautiful parts of your story to me is the grace that Olivia's family has shown. And you said they're still like family to you. How has that been helpful, and what has that relationship been like since the accident over these past couple of years?
I mean, the relationship is positive. I say the biggest thing is, we want to just continue living for Liv, and, living like Liv. And the only, we can't have any negativity towards each other, and plan to accomplish that. So, I know we all grieve in our own ways, and it hasn't been perfect along the way, but I know we took our time, and we're still healing as we go. But it's not a day that I feel like that I can't reach out and say anything to any of the family members and get something back. And because we all loved Olivia, we're all hurt by it, but ultimately we all want to continue her legacy going.
Dashazor Everett with us here on the Team 980. You are at a point now. I know that you want to try to get back in the NFL. What's that look like for you? And have you, what kind of conversations have you had with folks around the league to try to make that a reality?
The biggest thing I want to do right now is like I was focusing on getting this PSA, released out, because after an accident like that, not many people maybe want to deal with something in that manner, or people had their other thoughts about it. Most people haven't followed it and don't even know what initially came out. So after this is released, and I'm just gonna keep working. Ultimately what happens is gonna happen, but hopefully I can get some positive traction. Someone wants to bring me in for a workout, give me an opportunity, because I'm still young in my mind. Not that I didn't have a great career because in my mind I have, but I feel like I still got more in the tank, and I want to go out there and, like I said, be able to promote my story more. Because granted, on the NFL stage, you're gonna get more attention, you're gonna get more traction about anything that you're doing, and I feel like that's the biggest way that I can impact more people. And aside with that, just being able to, impact more kids as far as being able to do my camp and, having more players come out to my camp and, maybe hosting more camps in other places. Because, Olivia worked very closely with kids and even kids with disabilities. That's the most touching part about it. So, maybe I could get into that more and, do things like that with it.
Are you at peace if this ultimately, you've played your last NFL game? Have you let yourself think about that? I know the athlete drive is still deep within you, and often it's like, I don't, that thought doesn't cross your mind. So if I just put it there, I'm sorry, but is that something that you're at peace with if you have played your last NFL game?
Definitely. Like I said, you got to be at peace. After I lost so much on that night, from Olivia to my career to a car that I really put all my time into and a lot of effort, just because that's something that I really had a lot of enjoyment behind. But it's like once all that left and it was just taken away, it was just your perspective changed and your view on life and what you really need and what you really need to focus on and what's really going to be there. Following it, say if I didn't survive the accident, what would I have left with my legacy? And so now it's just I want to be more impactful. So it's anybody that knows me know I don't know, Deshazor, the story that came with it never even been a thought. But it's so I just want to leave a better legacy, regardless if I play again or not. If I do play again, I won't be known for just playing. I want to be, he did a lot of events, and I remember this guy came out and spoke that he spent time with this child and things like that.
You're also allowed to have hobbies and joy and things that provide positivity in your life. And I was debating on asking this, but you just kind of referenced it. But for those that don't know, which I would say 99.5% of the audience is probably true. You loved cars. We had conversations in the locker room where you'd start get going on car stuff, and I'd be like, man, I have no idea what you were talking about right now. But that was a hobby for you. You were in the garage, you were underneath the hood, in a very literal sense. And then this thing happens with a vehicle that is as tragic as anything that will ever happen in your life. Is that a joy that you still have, that you're still able to have? And, if so, how? If not, have you been able to find other things that can, occupy your mind and bring you that joy?
No, I don't mess with cars anymore. I probably have one classic car that, I just plan to hold on to just for the joy of having a classic car. Once I'm up in age, hopefully I make it that far. But I just been spending more time, let's say, with my children and just trying to find new hobbies. And I've really been taking more time of traveling back home and trying to train younger kids back at home and just give them something that I didn't really have, as far as being from a small town and having a guy that's ventured out and played in the NFL just come back, and I just give them some techniques or some little small training nuggets, just what to keep working on, what to focus on. But ultimately, it starts with school at that age. So that's what I really just harp on for them and listening to their parents.
Yeah. Man, I gotta say what you're doing is really inspiring, because it'd be a lot easier probably to just hide away from everyone and do it. But to take this and be like, I'm going to take this head on. I'm going to answer tough questions. I'm going to, and I'm going to talk about something that's heartbreaking and terrible and tragic, and try to turn it into something positive. I respect that a lot, man. I respected you a ton as a player. Always appreciated your time, and certainly do today, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything.
I appreciate you, brother.